Afternoon Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and today I'm going to show you 3 projects made with a brand new stamp set from Stampin' Up called Here's to Strong Women. And the minute I saw this, I knew that I had to get this stamp set. I just love it so much. If you would just give me a few minutes to get logged onto my other computer so that I can watch his comments come through in case anything's wrong with my video. I like people to let me know that if it's blurry or you're not seeing the picture or something, just leave me a comment. And if you would just leave me a comment and let me know that you're here and give me some love throughout the video, I would really appreciate it. So give me just one moment here. All right, I think I'm all set live. Looks like I need to shift over just a little bit some of my things here. And again, I would like to welcome you. If this is your first time coming to my Facebook Live, I would like to say thank you so much for taking some time out of your afternoon to watch my live demonstration, and I hope you'll come back. I'm normally on every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, but we had some issues with Facebook this week, and so I'm trying to squeeze it in to get it done this week before the week gets out, even though I know it's a holiday weekend. Hopefully you'll be able to come back and watch the replay. If you have joined me other times and you're coming back, I would like to say thank you for coming back. I do appreciate you coming back every week and watching my videos and leaving comments and leaving some emojis so that Facebook knows that I'm out here and you're out there watching. I appreciate it. If you're watching me on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe below and come on over and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/stampitwithdebbie. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, the stamp set is Here's to Strong Women. And I like it because, first of all, the greetings are pretty big, as you can see in this one. So you don't have to do a lot in the card. Just go ahead and stamp your image there. And I also like it especially because I think sometimes we forget to build each other up. And I know this says Here's to Strong Women, and this set in here does say Here's to Strong Women, but there's a lot in here that we could give to the guys in our life too. And I'm all for building people up. There's enough backstabbing out there, and I don't want any part of it. I want to build people up, make people feel good, let them know you got this. So on this one here, when you stamp it up, and I'll show you when we use it today, you could just omit the girl and the comma when you're inking it up, and you could send anybody you've got this. Surely this courage is your superpower could be used for guys or girls. And then also, you deserve a whole sheet of gold stars could be used in the way to go. So don't let the name of the stamp set deceive you when you're placing an order, because this is a fabulous set to have. I am featuring on this one other stamp set, and it's called Artisan Textures, and this actually is not a brand new stamp set. It was in our old catalog, but somehow for a whole year I had overlooked it. If you've been around Stampin' Up very long, you know that we used to have a stamp set called Grunge, and I love Grunge. It just fills in the little spots on a card when you feel like it needs a little bit of something else, but you don't want to put too much. That's what these backgrounds are great for. So I'm going to use that today. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how to create these 3 projects, so step by step, so that you may recreate them. And I realized that I did get in kind of a red, white, and blue pattern, but these could be created in any color. I am using a new designer paper, and it's called See a Silhouette. I'm just going to pull it out real quick and show you a few of the pieces here. I really like it. At the beginning I did not order it, but then I ended up ordering it, and I love it. It's kind of a watercolor paper, and I've shared with you before that I really like the look of a watercolor paper. Whoops, that's the same one. Here's this one and the back side. So the front side is kind of a bold And the back side kind of reminds me of Outer Space, or kind of the brusho kind of things, the dots. So lots of great colors. This one reminds me a little bit of tie-dye, a tie-dye shirt. So if you had a shirt stamp set or something, you could use that one. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'll put these other projects to the side, and then we're going to get started on this one. And I'll just remind you again, as I do each week, if you place at least a $30 minimum order through my online store, and I'll leave the link in the description as soon as the video is over, then I will send you the make and take kits for these 3 projects. You must use this host code in order to qualify. And if you'll give me just a minute, I'll grab the supplies needed for this card. I then ran a piece of Poppy Parade. This is 2 inches by 4 inches through the corrugated 3D embossing folder. And I'm sorry that I realized after I created this card, and I've used it in the past, Stampin' Up! Is revamping some of their embossing folders. So this one is not available right now, but it will be available soon. It is in the new catalog, but if you go to shop online, you're not going to find it because they pulled the number for it for just a little bit so that they could make it similar to all of their other embossing folders. So when we use them, they'll all be the same. So it should be available very shortly. All right, the other thing that you're going to need is, I have shown these before, but I'll show them one more time. They are called the Stitched Nested Label dies. And you can see there's lots of different sizes in here. I'm going to be using on another project too. But it leaves the little stitched edge all the way around here. And this is one of my favorites. I'm going to grab a little piece of scrap paper. We can go ahead and start by folding our card base in half and using our bone folder to just burnish that edge. And we can go ahead and put this piece down. You know, why don't I make it the opposite way this time? I'll do the tie-dye looking piece out this time. I love all of the papers. I love that they have 2 sides, so we can make two different looking cards. I'm going to use some of our Whisper White polka dot tulle ribbon. This was in one of our old, not the annual catalog, but I think maybe the Christmas catalog. I can't really remember now. A knot. I'm just going to tie a little, or a bow. I'm going to just tie a little knot here. And I'm going to cut the edges off so they're just nice and clean there. And then this piece can actually go right on the front of the card. Now, when I use the corrugated, I like to use a little bit of liquid adhesive because it kind of has so much embossing that the liquid adhesive sticks it down just a little bit better. So I'm going to put that about in the center, and I'm just going to hold it down for a minute. So that it gets on there real well. And so now I'm going to take this piece, and I did already cut it out so we didn't have to wait for me to do all of that. And I'm going to stamp You've Got This Girl. And this is the one that I told you if you wanted to just do it for a guy. So go ahead and stamp it. And then you can just see how you've got this. Now I did get a little bit of ink there. You can take a Q-tip and wipe that off if you don't want that part. But I want to do You've Got This Girl. So I'm going to ink the whole thing up. And there's that part. And this one is a little bit kind of watercolored. You can see, I'll bring it up just a little bit, how some of the little bit of the print is missing. That's not because it didn't come down on top of the paper correctly. It's just because that's how the stamp is. So it's kind of looks a little bit watermarked. So I told you that I'm going to use another stamp set. That's Artisan Textures. And the one that I'm going to use is this one here. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of splat. And I'm using Daffodil Delight in this. So I'm going to splat it up there. And then I think I'll splat it down there. And I just like how it just gives a little bit of color, a little bit more color, so that this piece isn't so plain to go on the front. And then I'm going to put a few dimensionals on the back. Take the backing off here. And then, whoops, dimensional pieces are stuck to my finger. And then the last thing that I want to do to give it a little bling, because I like sparkle, and I hope you do too, I'm going to use these new Noble Peacock Rhinestones. Hopefully you can see how beautiful they are. And I just want to add, I just added a little down here. So I'm just going to add 3 little rhinestones down here in this corner. And that just gives it just the right amount of bling, whether it's a guy or a girl. Just a little bit of bling. So these are beautiful colors, as you can see, and those are in the new catalog. They're available now. So there we go. Which one do you like better? The one with this kind of, it kind of looks like honeycomb in the back, or more of the tie-dye t-shirt kind of look? Which one is your favorite? I think I like this one because the colors in the back show through a little bit, but I do like the look of both of them. All right, let me get project number 2. I think we'll do this one next. And let me get all the pieces. And again, I'll bring back the host code so that if you want to order, you can have the host code to get your free make and take kit. Okay, what you need for this is a piece of blueberry bushel. This is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of Whisper White cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Again, I use those nested labels, and I cut one out in blueberry bushel and another one in the same exact size in the Whisper White. And then I did go ahead and already stamp this piece. This is a stamp, and we're going to use it on our next project too, so I'll show you a little bit better there. It's just a row of 5 stamps. So this is a piece of Real Red, cut at 2 1/4 by 4. And all I did was take Real Red ink and just slowly start stamping. Now you could use the Stamparatus for this to stamp a straight line. You could, I just eyeballed it. So I just very carefully made a starting point and started stamping, and it turned out pretty well. So this one I stamped in Real Red ink, so I think I'll go ahead and stamp that first. Now this card, Courage is Your Superpower. I think this would be great for a kid who's about to take a test at school, whether it's elementary school or high school or middle school. I think it would also be great for anybody going off to the military. I think if your spouse had a presentation or something to do, I think it would be super fun to tuck it in their briefcase and or their lunchbox and send them off to work. You could use this one for so much. I'm also using, hopefully you can see it with my little piece of washi tape. It's the little stamp that I did here. Now, I've given this advice before, but I just want to give it again in case you've missed it. On the really small cling stamps, sometimes they're very hard to peel off the blocks or out of your case. So I just took a piece of washi tape, folded it in half, and stuck it on the back of the stamp. So now when I go to take it off, I can pull the washi tape. The stamp still sticks on there, but I have a little tab to lift it off, and I'm not going to ruin my stamp. So I am using Blueberry Bushel. You guys, I keep wanting to call this Blueberry Buckle, If you have kids that are about the age of mine, my oldest daughter is 27. And she used to love this Gerber baby food called blueberry buckle. And whenever I think of blueberry bushel, that's all I think of is blueberry buckle. And they don't make it anymore. I'm really sad because she's the daughter that had the baby, and I would love to share that with my little baby, but I'm not going to be able to. So I just wanted to share that because I think about it every time. Blueberry buckle. All right, so I am going to, over in this right corner, and I put my ink away. With that same ink, way to go. Now again, you could leave that off if you didn't want to stamp that part. You could put another stamp there. You could put some little stars from another set on the background. I'm going to stamp my way to go there. And so now we're ready to go ahead and assemble. I want to fold my card in half first. And then I am going to put this aside because you can see I have some ribbon here and I want that to go around the card. So I need to put this red piece on the front of the Whisper White here. And I'm just going to leave maybe about a ½ an inch on that left side of the card there. And then I'm using the coordinating blueberry bushel. It's a grosgrain ribbon. And I'm going to run it around here. And I'm just going to leave enough so that I can tie a bow. Over here on the left hand side. And sometimes this ribbon ties real nicely. Sometimes it wants to bunch up a little bit. So I'll do my best to get a good bow here. Oh, perfect on the first time. If you find that your ribbon is moving around, you can put a little glue dot right under there. So I'm going to do it about halfway down. I'm just again going to cut off. That one I didn't do very well. I made that kind of straight. All right, now we have a little bit of an angle. So now we can put this piece onto our card base. Bring that over here. Put it right in the center. And then for these two pieces, since they're the same, if we put them on top of each other, I could have used one that was a little bigger. I like the look of it shifted just a little. So I'm going to just put a little adhesive on the back of this piece and kind of shift it down. I'm going to leave a little at the top and a little on the left-hand side. Now I need some dimensionals. And I kind of want to stagger where the ribbon is going, and since this is going, the ribbon will be going right down the center. I'm going to kind of put them off to the side there. I don't know if I said it yet. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day today, and maybe you have a long weekend. My husband took the day off, and he's been working on our shed, trying to get it done. So, all right. So now we can just put this piece. Oop, looks like I should have moved that over just a little. I'm not going to be able to. Hopefully that will. So it seems like what I was thinking in my mind, but I didn't say out loud. This ribbon should have, the bow should have been over just a little. I can untie it. I think this will still fit in my card right there, so it'll be fine, but I was just moving the ribbon over just a little bit. So there's our card. Whoops. And it's a little crooked. I'm going to see if I can lift it up just a little. This doesn't always go so well. You know what? I'm going to leave it a little crooked for now. Later on, I can take my snips and I can go under here and snip those dimensionals, and then I'll be able to straighten it up. So if you ever get something crooked, don't try to rip. Just go right underneath and get all the way to where the dimensional is, and just cut the dimensional off, and then you can brush it away. So once more, I'm going to use some shiny bling here. Now I would recommend, if you're sending this to someone in the military that is in another country, don't put the bling on it. Try to find something else to put on it, like a star stamp or something. I've heard from several different people that anything that goes to the military, because of course they don't want to give away their location, anything with glimmer paper or rhinestones, you don't want to put on those cards. So just keep that in mind when you're sending cards to someone in the military. But this is project number 2. So let me bring out project number 3. This one is a little treat holder. It says, "You deserve a whole sheet of gold stars." And you could use designer paper on it. I just wanted to keep it a little simple, but if you use designer paper, I would just cut some little pieces to go all the way around. And in keeping with the red, white, and blue theme, now this is Poppy Parade, but it looks very red to me, I found these little Debbie snack cakes, and yes, I tested them out. They're delicious. You know, I always have to test them out. I would never want to recommend putting something in a project that didn't taste delicious. So look how cute they are. Red, white, and blue. I got these at Walmart. They always seem to have the greatest little Debbie snack cakes selections. And then this little piece. Wow. Okay, I'm going to untie it to get it back on. Just ties right over, and it kind of keeps the lid closed so that whoever you're giving it to, snack, doesn't fall out on the way. And hopefully you didn't test it out on the way and it's still in the box. Alright, there we go. Alright, so this is the project we're going to make. And it's pretty easy. We have a little bit of scoring to do, so I'm going to set that aside and get the items that you will need. Let me bring this back over. So this piece here is from the Stitched Shapes framelits, and this is the second circle that's in Whisper White. I used a lot of framelits this time. I got a little carried away. This one is the layering circles. It's a scallop circle, and it's just a size that fits just behind that, so you can just see it just a little. This, once again, is the nested label dies, and then this one is in the sparkly silver. I just cut it one size smaller than the blueberry bushel. And then you need a piece of Whisper White, and that is cut at 2 inches by, you know what, I think I forgot to write it down. Let me check real quick. That's so silly. By 4 3/4. Sorry about that. 2 inches by 4 3/4 is what this piece is. And then I have a piece of Poppy Parade, and this piece is cut at 7.5 by 8. And it's very important to recognize which side is your 7-inch side, because we have some scoring to do, and we don't want to score on the wrong side. Okay, so on the side that's 7.5, we are going to score at 1 1/4 on each end. It's 1 1/4 and 6 1/4. You could have done that, but so 1 1/4 on each end on the 7.5-inch side. Now we're going to turn it to the 8-inch side, and we're going to score at 1 inch, 3 1/4, 4 1/2, and 6 3/4. And that's all the scoring we have to do there. Now we need to do a little bit of cutting. And where you're going to cut, make sure you're on the side that has just 1 inch here. This is 1 1/4. You want to be on the 1-inch side. We're going to cut off that first square and the second square. Don't cut off the third square, because I did that earlier. Just the first and second square. So again, make sure that this is your line this score line right here is 1 inch. This one down here is 1 1/4, and you don't want to cut that one off. Okay, so we have those two off, and now we want to cut up here, but I'm going to cut to the left of that score line, and then I'm going to cut a little angle, just like that. And then over here, I'm also going to cut just a little bit of an angle. Down here, just to the outside of the score line, because that's the part that we want to cut off. That way our box will close nice. We're going to turn it around. Again, cut up on that center score, cut a little bit of an angle. We're just cutting like a slight triangle out of there. And then the last one is here. Okay, so this is what our piece should look like. And we're just going to get our bone folder. Oh, couldn't find mine, and it was right in front of me. We're just going to burnish all of the score lines. All right, one other thing that I forgot to tell you, this is going to be the tab to close it in. We just want to cut just a little bit of an angle. Just makes our box look a little pretty when we tuck it in. And I'm going to use liquid adhesive to put my box together. So you'll see when we fold in all the tabs, we have 2 small tabs up here, this one in the middle, and the tab here. And what's going to happen is this tab's coming to the inside. That's from the back of the box. Then this tab right here in the front is going to go here. So that will form a little box. Let's see, that's the lid. Okay, so hopefully you see that, and as I glue it, I'll try to do it slowly. So if you're just laying your piece flat down like this, take these 2 little tabs right here, and you can do them one at a time. I like to do both of mine at once. So you're just going to bring it in. Just hold it for a minute so that it gets stuck there. You're going to bring this other side in. Hold that one just for a minute. Now, because that side of the box is done, it makes it a little more difficult on this one. So I'm going to do one at a time here. Oh, actually, I'll just do them both. Okay, so I have glue on both of them. I'm going to bring this side up and hold it just a little. There, now I have both of them. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so our box is all made now. And now we need to decorate the outside and put our treat inside. So we can put our treat right on the inside. And if you can't find these, any Little Debbie cake is going to fit. So we're just going to tuck that in there and set it aside for right now. We're going to, I don't know if you can see back here, there's a little row of stars, and I told you that I would show you how to do the stars. So on this piece that again is 2 inches by 4 3/4, I'm going to use my Stamparatus. How I got the stamp in there is I lined this up, and I'm using one of the lines that's in just a little bit. I'm going to use my magnet. I'm going to secure that in the corner. And so originally I just sat this down where I wanted it, and then I brought the top plate down, and you can see that there are some grid lines on the top of this acrylic plate, and I just lined up the tips of the stars to the center line. So now I'm going to use some Poppy Parade ink. And this piece is right on the outline here. It's on a couple lines there, so that's how I know where to put it. What I like about the Stamparatus is if you don't get a good stamp, you can always go back and do it again, but this one's good. And so now I'm going to actually lift this plate up It comes right out. And I'm going to move it over. And it's pretty much going to be in line, but what I found is it's a little better to move this over just a smidge. Otherwise, it stamps right on top of that other star. I'm going to stamp it again and bring it down. And then I'm going to do it once more just to get one star on the end. And again, these just have these little notches right here that fit in this notch. That's the great thing about the Stampin' Up! Stamparatus, is that you can move the top, and you really don't have to normally move your paper, but I'm moving it because of how the stamp is on there and how I'm putting them in a row. Normally you would just move the plate over. So this is the last one. Oop, and I forgot to put a piece of paper in there, so now I got some ink on there. Let me grab a tissue and wipe that off real quick. I'll have to finish wiping it off, but I knew if I didn't kind of wipe it off now, I would end up with red ink everywhere. Alright, I'm just going to put this back to the starting position. Set it aside. We will need the Poppy Parade, so we can take this piece and put it right on top here now. So I'm going to use some of my adhesive. Another thing you could do with this, as I said before, you could use designer paper all the way around. Before you put it together, you could stamp stars all the way around, or just random rows of stars if you wanted to. For this one, I'm stamping You Deserve a whole sheet of gold stars, and I'm using Poppy Parade. And then I'm using a little star from another stamp set that I have. And I'm just gonna stamp a few little stars up here. And for that, I'm using Blueberry Bushel. And that's it for the stamping. So now we can go ahead and put our project together. I'm going to put a little adhesive on the back of this sparkly label punch and just put it together there. Today is not my day for putting things straight. Alright, now it's straight. And then I want to adhere this piece to my scalloped circle that I already cut out in Poppy Parade. And put that together. And then I am going to go ahead and tie my ribbon right now so that I know where to place all the other pieces. And this is textured weave ribbon, and it's in Poppy Parade. It also comes in Granny Apple Green. And again, I'm just going to tie a little knot up here on the top just to keep the box closed. It stays pretty well on its own. Plus it adds a little decoration. I think I got too much ribbon. Okay. Now we're ready to go ahead and put our pieces on. This piece is just going to go right on with adhesive. I would recommend something strong because it's got double layer there. And then this piece here wants to go on top, and we're going to use a few dimensionals. And I'm just going to put the dimensional here because sometimes when you're sticking on the glimmer paper, the adhesive tends to fall off. So I know if I'm on regular cardstock, it will stay right on. So that's about what I'm going to do. I'll put one in the middle just so that my greeting doesn't fall down. And then you can stick it right on there. And if you wanted to, open it up and just make sure that it's pressed on very tightly. So there are the three projects. Again, today we used the Here's to Strong Women and the Artisan Textures stamp sets. And we made 3 cute projects. Leave me a comment and let me know which one is your very favorite. And if you attempt to make this, leave me a picture on the sharing Saturday so that we can all see what kind of projects you're creating. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Again, if you purchase, go to my online store at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net and make a purchase of $30 or more. I will be happy to send you the make and take kits for these projects. Just be sure and use this host code so that it alerts me that I need to send you the make and take kits. Thank you again for stopping by today. Don't forget to hit subscribe or follow if you're finding me on Facebook right now. And we'll see you again next Wednesday at 4 p.m. for another live demonstration. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and be safe.